The newest branch of the armed forces is getting ready to test for the first time how the Space Force will respond to any sort of, quote, orbital adversary. We are talking real life space wars. The Pentagon handed out contracts to two companies to create spacecraft and a command center to carry out a real life threat response scenario. But this will not be in a simulator in a hangar somewhere on a base. It will be in orbit. So I'd like to welcome in Major Glenn Ignazio. He's a former Air Force Special Ops pilot and military analyst. Major, thank you so much for your time. I think when a lot of us hear this, we don't even know what to think. What do you envision this, quote, realistic threat response scenario would actually look like?
Yeah, it's really interesting. So the U.S. Space Force Defense Innovation Unit and the portfolio manager, space portfolio manager, Steve Butow, they've really bridged commercial space and the Department of Defense to actually bring something to bear. So we've seen over the years, China's actually been able to mirror and maneuver around different satellites. So this is designed to be able to launch a rocket and a satellite within 24 hours and be able to survey, so see an adversarial satellite, maneuver, and possibly interrupt an attack that may be against one of our military satellites. So yeah, the technology is there. It's actually something that is happening right now, and it is happening in space. This is not a simulation.
This is not a simulation. Is an exercise like this important in your opinion?
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen, again, adversaries such as China with some advanced systems actually maneuver some of our satellites already. That's been out there for the last couple of years. But to be able to have a system that can happen in 24 hours or within even a couple of days versus satellites that usually would take months or even years to launch is what's significant. So to be able to do it that rapidly. But yes, the satellites are able to maneuver, able to actually intercept, survey, and deter, and if not, intercede in an attack. So just like we do in our airspace with our aircraft, this is happening now in space, but a whole different dynamic, as you can imagine.
Absolutely. So cool. What all can be learned from this type of, I almost want to call them war games happening in space?
Well, it's interesting is that, this space domain awareness or the space tactical response, this is what it's about. It's not only these type of things, but on the beneficial side, some of the satellites run out of fuel and so forth. That's what usually limits their life. The ability to maneuver and do these things actually gives the capability, mainly DoD, to be able to refuel satellites in space, like we do with the aircraft, to prolong their lives. Usually their lives are limited by fuel. So there's some incredible positive things out of this, not just the defense perspective.
And do you think there is a real threat of some type of space battle in the future? And of course, I'm immediately going to a movie set here.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, are you talking about, spaceships or UFOs? Maybe not that particular case, right? I got you on that one. But it is interesting is that, and the reason why the Space Force was created is that upper echelon has become a combative space. And so, yes, we do have adversaries going after satellites. We actually have anti-satellite missiles that we can launch even from airplanes. So that upper realm, that space realm has really become a domain of combat. So yes, it's interesting. The UFOs and stuff, not quite sure, but as far as adversaries near peer, that is definite.
And just really quickly, do you think we are going to see more activity? More activity that we know about in space? Are things going to start shifting to orbit?
Yeah, I think a lot of these systems, and especially in the Department of Defense side, are very sensitive in nature. We do surveillance and electronic intelligence and so forth, and those are in space. But I think we're seeing much more of this with the commercial space, and that innovation, the Defense Innovation Unit, like I said, is really phenomenal to bring the commercial and the government side together, both for defense, but also for commercial progress, where things can go. So I think this has definitely opened up the realm even more.
Yeah, such important work being done. Major Glenn Ignazio, thank you so much for your time.
Absolutely. Great to meet you.
And we do continue.